Hi, I'm Bo Maddox from Collateral Cinema, the only movie podcast that matters, and you're listening to the Trial by Error Variety Show podcast. Have fun, everyone.
Give it to you.
Oh, yeah. Welcome back to the Trial by Error Variety Show. I am your host, Chazzle Dazzle. That was an intentional pause, by the way. Just letting you guys soak it in. We love this one. Ni Shoili by Boulevard Noir. Oh, it's one of my favorite intros. I really do. It's tasty. I love it. I love it. So good. Okay, today we are talking to some super groovy folks from a pretty legendary place, actually, Venice, California. That's right. Where my boy Jim Morrison, my boy and, America's boy, did the bulk of the writing and exploring, with them vibes. But there's still a lot of cool shit going down. Hence, my guest, Movie Club. They're putting out some music today. It's available right now. And we're gonna listen to some of it. Picked a couple of singles, but don't worry, there's plenty to go around on, the streaming platforms. But you know what? We'll get into it. Without further ado, everybody, Movie Club.
Can you hear us? Okay.
Yeah, it's a little quiet, but it's not bad. I can touch it up. So just stay comfortable.
We don't have that pro mic situation.
Yeah, and so my problem is I'm always louder, and then that's what I really end up touching up. Like, shut up, dude. But anyway, good to meet you. I'm Chaz. So
nice to meet you. I'm Jessamine.
Vince. All right.
Yeah.
Good to meet you guys, and together you are a movie club.
We are.
Awesome. You've got a little bit of a presence on Spotify. I kind of dug around on Apple and Bandcamp trying to find some way so that I could funnel a little money your way to support you. I guess the time for that is coming very soon.
Yes.
So that probably by the time this gets released, we'll be right there, right at the time. So anyway, I found you guys on Spotify, I believe it was. If it wasn't Spotify on a playlist, it was a Jam in the Van session.
Yeah.
Which was rad. Super rad.
Thanks.
So they got a cool setup. We'll talk about that in just a minute. And then reaching out to you guys, you were really responsive, and then that's great. I feel like that's a really good way to be, for people to be responsive and want to talk about what they're doing. So we're on the right step. All right, and I'm gonna turn it over to you guys and kind of introduce yourselves, how you guys are collectively doing what you're doing and what you're doing in between, kind of for a living. If you don't want to talk about personal stuff, I totally get it. Just kind of helps us understand who you are. So the floor is yours.
Thanks. Well, where does it go back to?
Well, I mean, the beginning of the band, we just kind of, our friend Rami from the Foo Fighters was throwing one of his parties before Cal Jam, which is a festival out in California, and he was working with the studio, or he partially owned the studio, Phonogenic, and they just throw amazing parties there. So we ended up asking to play, and we had a few songs-ish together, and we just kind of were like, hey, let's play the show, see how it goes. And we just performed in front of people, and it went really well, and that kind of just sparked us that, hey, we have a band.
Yeah, our motto was to just do what you can with what you have, and keep it simple and strong. So we just put 3 songs together, real quick. Came pretty naturally. We'd both previously been in bands, and they had sort of fallen apart, so we were both ready for a new project, and it worked out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you guys discovered you had chemistry right away, pretty much.
Well, it's kind of a funny story because we had known each other and been dating for like a year before we actually jammed together.
Mm-hmm.
We were a little like, what's it going to be like, you know, and it just was like, we were kind of saving it. And then we just finally had beers during the day and like went and jammed after, and it went really well. And so, yeah, we decided to just put something together with what we had, and we both can sing, but we both weren't like dying to focus on the vocals. We kind of wanted to just try to have a voice with our instruments. And I feel like a lot of movement has been happening for the instrumental bands lately. It seems like there's a bigger demand than ever. And Krungbin, who is a huge influence on us, because we saw them doing it, and we were like, if they can get something going like that, like, why not try? It seems like it's the right time.
Yeah, definitely. There's always a demand for that kind of mood set, you know, without anybody's. It's all left to interpretation, and like you said, I like the way you described it, simple and strong, because that's how it is. It's very present, you know, for just a duo. It really does just kind of keep a vibe. Every song has a vibe, and it's just very thorough, and the studio versions of them are incredible. So I'm really excited to hear about you know, the new stuff you have coming out here in February. And I kind of got a sneak peek at the video, and one thing I noticed about the video was the song itself had a vibe, and you guys really used that with the lighting and the costume work, and just sort of the spy versus spy sort of feel to it. I really liked that. Is there more plans for that, using more video to go along with your vibe? Because you've created a score essentially for yourselves, a palette. Yeah.
That's like, we're doing what we want to do, which is score stuff. Mm-hmm. And the fact that we can put together sort of a mini action movie in under 4 minutes. And I think it appeals to, you know, the Flash attention span of people too. You know, it's like just some cartoon gags. Cartoons are a huge reference for us, and having fun with it, and it's all very tongue-in-cheek.
Right, and it's just like, for, you know, just like the rest of the band, we keep it real simple. We shoot it in a day. We turn it over real quick. We just try not to overthink anything, because that is very easy to do when you're in a musical project and you like get too in your head about it. For us, we're just like, let's keep pushing out videos and records. And
yeah,
and save that idea. Oh, so, I'm so sorry. Keep talking.
Sustainable, creating a sustainable platform, right? Like, because I just feel like so many bands put so much money and so much pressure on like one release of one song, and then they can't do anything again for months because they have to like regenerate and find income. And, you know, at the end of the day, everyone's just mass producing art right now. And so you have to keep churning it out if you want to keep up any sort of buzz. You're forgotten second otherwise. So yeah, building a cool platform that doesn't break the bank. We've been really lucky to have some great deals on recording and videography and stuff because of friendships. And that's another thing. It's like, work with people that you love and that you trust. And that's another reason that we were like, why not start a band? Like, we're each other's like best bandmate that we've ever met. And like, you know what I mean? Like, as far as like productivity and having a positive attitude, not being scared of every move sort of thing.
Yeah. That's a great perspective. Yeah, there's a lot of work to be done to compete with the size of the market for both cinema and for music. So, you know, and just kind of circling back to what I said before, interrupting you, was, you know, if you've already had those, you know, I want to touch on this song, you know, oh, wouldn't it be cool with this? You can just, like you said, move forward with that idea and make something brand new with that evolved idea, and create something completely different, inspired by an old idea. So that's a really good mindset. Yeah. Don't chase ghosts, right?
Heavy Reference was sabotaged by the Beastie Boys, and they were just doing that with like almost like less plot than us, and just the hilarious shots making fun of every action sequence, and it was just like, it's everything's recycled ideas, but you put your own polish on it.
Of course, yeah. There's no it's hard to, especially if you're just buying clothes in general, it's hard to do something that is completely original. You have to just everything is inspired by something, and as long as it's entertaining and you've filmed it right, which I feel like it was. Who filmed it? It was filmed great. There's a lot of really great shots in that.
For sure. We are so lucky.
Yeah.
Dustin Downing is a force. And his friend Brian Feinheiser, they are a duo, and they love to be rugged. And Dustin is a long-standing friend of mine, who I met through my friend Rachel Reynolds, who worked at KCRW, and he shoots for KCRW among many other places. And I used to volunteer there a lot. And so he has just been down for the cause, and it's a real blessing. And I think he does so well, and he's giving back, you know, and that's the best part about LA, living in LA, is that you can have all these extremely talented friends, and we can all help each other, you know. Like, he's excited because he's shooting cool stuff, and a lot of times he has to be stuck shooting, like, you know, Vampire Weekend or something.
Right? He's like, sorry guys, I got this other gig.
Sorry. But you know what I mean? Like, so it's fun for him too. It's not like, and so we're shooting with him again tomorrow. We're very lucky to be shooting with him and Brian again tomorrow for our next single drop that's going to be with the whole EP in March.
Okay.
And we've found this incredible location. We don't want to say now, but you'll see. And so we're going out there and we're doing some more Spy versus Spy, Wolves versus Greeks.
Some to be continued.
Yeah. So it would be cool in later stages to be able to shoot this ongoing thing, kind of like we see it like a video game. And it's like each music video is a different level, so it's like a different vibe, and just the capers and whatnot. It's just like a more entertaining approach to music videos, which are usually based on like glamour shots of like the artists maybe playing live or whatever, maybe some hot girls dancing. You know, it's like we just wanted to stray away from like a lot of cliches and just do our own thing.
No, it's you guys are definitely in the right place, and it looks like you have the right team of people to help you pull that vision off. It is a lot of fun. There's a lot of nostalgia in that, and the night shooting was really awesome. The lighting and all that stuff is just it's some really awesome stuff. I can't wait for the general public to see it. It's really fun. I think I've seen it like 30 times since you guys sent it to me.
Awesome. We were wondering who's watching all of it.
Yeah, and my kids love it too. I always test stuff on my kids. I've got a range, a 13-year-old, 11, 9, and a 6, you know, and it always just who does this appeal to, you know? The 13-year-old, of course, she's like, it's not Lizzo, I don't care. Yeah, dude, my 9-year-old and my 6-year-old are like, this is great. I love it, dude. We love video games. We love old movies and stuff too. So back to you guys. So when you're shooting these videos, do you guys have to get permits, or is this kind of guerrilla shooting? How are y'all working that?
Guerrilla shooting.
I love it.
I don't think you really need to get a film permit if it's not like a commercial or a TV show or film. Music video shoots are just generally considered pretty whatever,
Okay.
whatever. The point is, we ran into the cops on the beach, and I got sketched out.
I got real sketched out.
And Dustin goes, "We're not doing anything wrong." And I was like, "You're right, we're not doing anything wrong." So we just walk up, and the cops are like, "What's going on over here?" And we were like, and we were in the wolf suits, and they were like, "We like it."
Yeah, right on. Good.
Just started doing it. I was like, they're about to shut us down.
Is there a shot of that? Is there a shot of that? Like the fear, you know?
Oh no, I just remember my body stopped because, we were walking around like, cartoon characters, and I just stopped dead.
We froze. You're not doing anything wrong. No, we're not doing anything wrong.
It'd be so good if there was like a wide shot of that. The cop just kind of looking at you stop, like, what is going on right now? You know?
No, and I wish there was a close shot of the cop going, "We like."
Yes, totally. Yeah, that'd be awesome. So bump into those guys again and be like, "Hey, you guys want to be in this video? You know, we might have a role for you in the next one." It is there's like a criminal element to it, you know.
Yeah.
Totally.
Just peek around a corner, maybe, you know. I don't know. That's fun. So you said you had been in other bands and failed, so you know kind of how a band can feel almost like a marriage, you know. And it's interesting how you said your approach was sort of like, oh, I don't know, are we gonna do this? It really could rock the boat one way or the other, you know. Like if you're with somebody and you're just like, oh, everything's cool, and then you play with each other and one person's like, I don't like your style at all. You know, that could be some like ongoing animosity in a way, you know. So I'm glad that worked out.
Yeah. But yeah, at the end of the day, I think everything is who you work with. And I mean, if you build something with someone and there's obvious fatal flaws, like it's like you only get so far and then it all comes crashing down. So if you get the chance to like get to know someone so closely beforehand and you're like still like, I would love to work with this person, like probably it's a good space.
Yeah. I've like worked with a bunch of musicians that are amazingly talented, but just like not the greatest people, you know? So it's just like, that was like a roadblock.
Or most functional people.
Yeah.
Like, there is something about the artist that it's like inherent dysfunction. And, not to say that we've always been great, like great rosy times or whatever in our past. We've both worked through our own things. But yeah, we met 3 years ago. We started Moody Club a year and a half later, basically, and in our first year, we played 30 shows in the Los Angeles area, so we went at it pretty hard.
Yeah, and we didn't really know or expect. We were just like, all right, let's just like keep making songs. Let's make a record. Like do the things that a band does, and see what happens. And it just keeps progressing like that. And that's like, we haven't even released our other music video, but we're going to shoot the next one. I never thought that would have happened.
Yeah. And y'all are definitely on a roll. I mean, 30 shows and a jam in the van. Do you have any plans for like festivals or anything? I mean, is that kind of something? No plans.
Of course.
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no. I mean, we can't wait to play festivals.
Well, that's the whole thing too. With is like we always talk about like our stage production, and it's just like when you start playing those festivals and they have all the lasers or whatever. Especially with instrumental music, it's like visual could go very cool with that. So we talk about all different kinds of ideas, actually playing with like, a movie or music videos in the background. But
yeah, definitely the visuals are going to be huge. When we have a budget, the visuals are going to be off the chain.
Yeah.
Like we would love just like all the found footage, all the psychedelic stuff, you know, because we don't have a singer that everyone can stare at to entertain or whatever, but we can get things going on. Sorry, my cat is trying to come up and say hello.
He's trying to do the biscuits. You need something like sit on the blanket. Gonna make biscuits.
Right.
So yeah, that you know what those visuals always remind me, like some of the classic visuals. I always remember seeing in the Oliver Stone version telling of the Doors story. Have you ever seen that one, the Oliver Stone? Remember those visuals they had? I was always so envious of those.
I know.
We did.
Man.
We watched that. I mean, living in Venice, you know, it's like our upstairs neighbor looks like the spitting image of Jim Morrison. It's so funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Young version, or like if he is older?
What's that?
Like the young version or an older version of him?
We keep, well, he just
and
got
then his mom made him cut his hair.
So he doesn't look as Jim Morrison now, because we were like, let's get this guy and just shoot visuals of him and say it's Jim Morrison.
Yeah. But now, yeah, he just looks like a guy.
Yeah, but the whole Venice Beach connection with like Jim Morrison and stuff, and it's just like being from Venice. I don't know. I mean, I've only been here in LA 3 years, but moving to Venice is like there's just a specific vibe, you know, from. You know, it's definitely still like in the essence in the air here. So in our first show we played, and Robbie Krieger, the guitarist from the Doors, played after us in the.
Ooh.
So it was like, we didn't, you know, at the time I didn't make the connection. I was like, oh, the Doors. And I was like, wait, we're a band that's starting in Venice too, you know?
Yeah.
Got these ideas, man. What were you going to say?
I was going to say the music scene, it has not been as strong as I think it used to be lately, but it should take a turn for the better because there's all these new venues opening up. Like right now, there's really only 2 to 3 West Side venues. But that's going to almost double in the next year, supposedly. So
I wonder why that is. Do you know why that is?
We think it's mostly because rehearsal space is hard to come by in the West Side, so people don't really have. It's not somewhere you move to be a band. It's also notoriously expensive, and we have a rent-controlled spot. We're really lucky, and we can rehearse in our apartment because people are so cool around here. So it's still cool in Venice, but it is very expensive. And the East Side is more a better place for most musicians.
Yeah, a lot more
rent.
venues. So it's like, and everybody's playing in like, not everybody, but a lot of people are playing in multiple bands, so they can, you know, have rehearsal, play 2 shows. For me, I'm just like happy that we have our nice little pocket in Venice where we can just keep our heads down and create, and then drive downtown to play the shows. But yeah, I mostly think it's like Justin was saying, like the expense. So it's hard to just be an artist and, you know, live in the more expensive parts of LA unless you find a pocket.
Or you make it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's another incredible challenge that once you get over, I think it's one of those things, you know, if it doesn't kill you, it makes you stronger. No, it almost makes you invulnerable to anywhere you live in the country. If you can survive in a place like LA or New York, I mean, move anywhere like Austin or San Antonio and the rent seems incredibly cheap and traffic is like deduced to nothing. I mean, compared to both those places. So, which Texas is just blowing up as far as launching artists and stuff. And it's not like that's ever not been a thing, but just right now specifically, there's a lot of focus on that. And kind of the same thing is happening. Like a lot of venues that were put out are now just packed every night. And it's kind of remarkable in this. I mean, it's just as saturated here, and it's just as unpredictable as who can we book that's going to keep the lights on here. But I think it's they're very open to exploration, and they're really open to experimental stuff. And I don't really think necessarily it's about building an audience or building or having an audience. It's about building an audience. I kind of see that. And I was just kind of wondering if that was the same thing that you were seeing kind of in those areas. If it was just like rent is too high to risk putting somebody in here that isn't gonna pull numbers, you know. Well, you know, we can have movie club in here, but we can't unless Robbie Krieger comes on, you know, it's just unfortunate when stuff like that happens, because they don't allow you guys to come in and build an audience in a really popular place where somebody like that would play regularly.
Right, yeah. The more popular places will have like touring acts or, you know, a local band that is, you know, has a decent following. But that's what I've noticed. I think is like a lot of these venues are just trying to figure it out, and like you said, like keeping the lights on. So you know they'll have a DJ on a Saturday night because they know people are going to show up and they're not going to have to pay 3 bands. So a lot of the times you can play a venue and it's a place that isn't putting in the time and nurturing that culture and growth of the community, and you'll just like people won't want to go to that venue. And it's not because they don't have, you know, they might have great sound and like the whole thing is cool, but like I just think there has to be some like culture surrounding these venues, that especially with new bands.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times in LA, those are the places that have to close their doors because they are just like trying to keep the lights on by having the things where they know people will show up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or the pressure on the band, like the pay to play situations.
There's pay to play, like you actually have to pay to play at certain clubs.
Troubadour is like a notorious one, where bands have to at least cough up $700 to play there, or sell that in tickets plus some.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, and it's not really, they're not like building like a strong vibe one way or another, you know.
Yeah.
Or a lot of people just won't pay the artists or whatever. We just try to avoid those venues in general because I disagree with that whole practice. If I could organize a strike, I would do that.
Yeah. I think that's maybe that would be kind of an established band sort of situation. Like, I'd like to play at this legendary place, and $700 is just a drop in the bucket, you know?
Well, it's like, if you can sell it out, then definitely you'll make money playing. But if you can't get $700 worth of tickets sold,
yeah, or merch or whatever.
But some people have money, so it doesn't matter to them or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. So, capital, man, that's the big thing that stops most people from living out their dreams, huh?
Yeah.
Having that nest egg. Well, it's incredible that you guys found each other and you're moving at this momentum. What's, you know, beyond LA, you know, what's sort of a bucket list of places you guys would like to tour?
Oh, man.
Well, just like tracking back a little bit, is one of the reasons we thought the instrumental thing was good too is that there's no words, and instrumental music is global, like,
universal, yeah.
Universal, like you can play it to any
age, any country, anyone. So yeah, that's the coolest part for us, is that there are no limits,
right,
to who we can just, because like you said, it's like we're just trying to spread a vibe and. Yeah.
But yeah, I've been doing like research and stuff on like music scenes, and one of our tracks on our first EP, it's called Snake Charmer, it has like a Middle Eastern vibe, and it just like, you know, it didn't get huge millions of numbers, but like it got a huge following in Istanbul, Turkey, and then like all the surrounding cities. So then I like have been researching, and like they're like just on it with music and art. Like there's all kinds of blogs, publications, and it's like I never would have discovered that, but now I'm like, we have to go play there.
Oh yeah, we can't wait
and
to play in Turkey.
Yeah. So that's like definitely.
They were our first true fans. Like, we were getting so much love.
It was like you look at the Spotify listens, and it was like 3 cities in Turkey, and then like Los Angeles. You know.
Oh, that's awesome though, man. Yeah. So those that list is just gonna make itself once you start getting those analysis and those statistics. It's just gonna kind of like, hey, you know, these people. I love that idea. I never even thought of that. I don't know why. I've talked to so many bands, but just actually targeting, not in any sort of like give me your money kind of way, but just sort of targeting where you're gonna land. Based on those stats. That's a really incredible way to look at that. That's really cool.
Yeah. No, for us, I mean, it's not about the money as far as like people appreciating the music.
Mm-hmm.
We just want to get out there, and we want to, uplift people. Or
yeah, and we said like this is a good vessel to travel. It's like a lot of people are like, taking vacations. It's like we can, there's all these crazy music festivals with big budgets where people actually care and like want to have something cool. So it's just a matter of meeting those people and talking to them, and they're like, oh yeah, instrumental rock band, definitely.
Well, definitely, because at festivals they're notorious for bad sound, and mainly because of the vocals. The vocals are like the part that has the worst delay, and it's just echoey, and you can never hear what they're saying anyway and stuff. But that's what we found. We saw Krungbin open for Leon Bridges, and they sounded so good at the Greek. They were really good.
Yeah, but they're from Houston.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I actually I just featured some of their new the Texas Sun, I believe it was.
Oh yeah,
yeah. I just put some of that on. I talked to a band from Medford, Oregon, and I asked them to put together the playlist for the episode, and they were like, "Talk to Crunchman, talk to them." I'm like, "Well, they're a little out of my reach, but I'll play some of their music. How about that?" So, but yeah, they really are. They've got a really awesome eclectic sound, and I can definitely get you guys in touch with at least one festival creator that I know here called Utopiafest, and it's an all genre, all ages music fest. They take bands from all over the world, and it's like a 24. I mean, it's 3 days, but it runs 24 hours, consecutively. So there's tons of places for you guys to land. They do the silent disco thing where they have they'll have a DJ set up, and then they have switch to the blue channel, and they've got movie club playing on one side. So pull together, but if you got to have a good hour and a half set, which I think you guys could totally do with some improvisation and maybe just a little bit of shoegaze for the festival crowd. You know what I'm talking about? Fill it in a little more pedals.
No. We played 2 45-minute sets at one show this year, and we already have a bunch of new material since then. So
that's the thing too is like that now, like it's, when we play a shorter set, it's like there's not enough time, because we keep making so many different songs and stuff. And
we don't talk during our performance at all, so it's like keeps it moving very quickly. So it's just like solid block of music.
Solid music. Just
we've been working on the transitions and stuff, but yeah, the point is that material. We're very lucky to just have a lot of material for such a young project.
So you're ready. That is awesome.
So we're ready. That's the point.
You are ready. Oh, man. So yeah, I want to talk about your new music. You have some new music coming out, and how is it different from the last stuff that you've been working on?
So we're really excited. We have our next EP coming out in March. It's called Man of War and Man O War.
Man of War, yeah. After the creepy jellyfish.
Yeah. So
There's
there's
a
another
little-
nautical theme.
Yep.
Staying strong with the badass sea creature theme.
Yeah.
But we're really excited about this one because we have kind of like a whole new team behind it, and we've just been listening to a lot of more heavy psych lately.
Yeah.
Some huge influences: Ty Segall, the OCs. Who else?
Yeah, I mean, even probably like some Sabbath and stuff, but just like making simple rock songs, but like these ones we were like getting a little more edgy and like, going.
We're going a little harder.
Yeah.
And we recorded at King Size Sound Labs in Eagle Rock. This guy Brian Rosemayer, who's worked there for years, he knows it front to back. And we have heavyweight bass player Tim LaFave, and he's
played with a ton of people. He's one of like my favorite bass players, but he played on the last David Bowie album, which was like crazy to hear about that experience. But he played with Derek Trucks, who's one of my favorite guitarists, but I think he's touring with the Black Crowes for their 40th reunion. So, but
he's a busy guy.
Yeah, he's a busy guy, but like super fun and like added a nice spin to the record. Like he did some bass, but also did some synthy stuff on his bass. So
it's crazy. Yeah, it doesn't even sound like bass. He did some experimental stuff, and we love it. We're really excited.
Yeah.
And
it's like a little super group you guys put together.
We've been really lucky with the bass players we've been able to get on board.
Yeah.
Just for the recording.
Yeah.
The first two recorded with Jesus from Lettuce, and he also has recorded with like Snoop and Dr. Dre.
Yeah, but Lettuce is like a classic instrumental funk band.
Yeah, they were nominated for a Grammy this year.
Yeah, I saw that. They headlined at Utopiafest not last year, but the year before. They did like they were supposed to play like an hour and a half. I think they played like 2.5 hours.
That sounds like them.
Yeah, they're like, let's keep going.
Exactly. Yeah, so Jesus is amazing. He did the first two, and then we got Tim in for Man of War.
Yeah, so we always like to bring in the special guests that add their flavor to our music. So
yeah, it's a great outlet for them too. Because a lot of that stuff is sort of formulaic. When you're stuck on like an old project, whereas you guys, it's like, hey, we can take this wherever you want, put your weird synth bass on it, they're probably really excited. A lot of those people get excited to do that with you guys.
Absolutely. We love giving them creative control. We just trust,
Mm-hmm.
Some of the greats, though.
Really but that's coming out in March, and with this next music video.
Yeah. That we're shooting tomorrow out in the desert in an undisclosed location.
Yeah, but hey, it's a perfect time to be out there. I bet the weather's great right now. So.
Yeah.
The Santa Ana winds have been fierce, but they're dying down.
Yeah. It'll make for some cool effects if they do kick in. You'll use them.
Some desert dirt.
True.
Yeah.
We had to veto the smoke bombs though because it might be too windy for that.
Bring them just in case. Bring them. It's totally awesome, dude. So you're going to be doing some night shooting as well? Or just kind of both? A little both?
Time.
Yeah, this one's day setting.
The setting is so great that it really, really deserves full exposure.
Okay. Well, we'll keep our eyes peeled and our ears open.
Yes. Very excited to share it all, and I'm sure there'll be more that unfolds between now and then.
Yeah, and if you guys, no matter how much you turn out, I'm not one of those podcasts that won't have repeat guests. Each project has its own story and its own guest, special guest, obviously. So come back and visit us again, and we'll do this and talk about the next project as well.
Will do. It's been a blast.
Yeah, sounds
Thanks
good.
for having us.
Thanks for having us.
We love what you're up to over there. So thanks for reaching out.
Yeah, thank you very much. I love what you guys are up to. So it's mutual. My kids are going crazy back there. You hear them?
They better get to bed.
My 2-year-old, dude, she runs the show. So it's like, I hear her calling shots in there. I'm going to go break that up. But, all right, well, you guys stay busy, and we'll be keeping up. So.
All right, sounds good. You too.
See it.
All right, later.
Hey everyone, it's Christy G from the Christy G Podcast. I wanted to tell y'all about my show where I have conversations with some of the most interesting people on the planet, such as musicians, actors, public figures, and more. The conversations range from music, movies, social justice, and all things nostalgic. It gets real, but it's also really silly. There are new episodes each week, so if you're looking for more conversation than you could shake a dang stick at, subscribe to the Christy G Podcast on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Now let's get back to the show. Oakley dokley.
Thank you so much to Movie Club for hanging out with us, letting us in on all your little secrets. Now we know we can go do some amazing things. Right? Everybody learned something today. Well, I'm looking at my schedule right now, and I'm seeing it's gonna be busy. It's gonna be a really, really busy February, March, April, and May. And I can't put any one of these artists on a pedestal because every single one of them is creating amazing stuff, including our friends Movie Club. So, it was a real treat. And I'm actually gonna walk us out on the release that they put out today, my friends. It's MOONBOW. And it's super dope. And it has a movie. Like a little part of a movie, I guess. It's you know, kind of a serial version of music video releasing. What am I saying right now? Just go watch the video. See for yourself. And you heard in the interview if you were paying attention. And if you weren't, go back and listen. As a matter of fact, go back and listen to all the episodes if you haven't already and get caught up. Because there's something for everybody. And stay tuned, because you're not going to believe some of the lineup that we have for the rest of this year and the rest of this season. Do us a huge favor if you liked what you heard today. Go leave us a 5-star rating on podcast apps all over at Podcast Addict, Stitcher, iHeart Radio, Apple Podcast. Let's see, where? SoundCloud. I don't think you can rate us on SoundCloud, but we're on SoundCloud. YouTube, you can give us thumbs up on stuff. Like, there's ways to show love for this podcast. And there's ways to show love to all the bands that have appeared on this podcast by going and finding them on Bandcamp and Spotify and wherever you listen to music. I know for a fact that buying an album on iTunes helps in some way for the algorithm. You know how it goes. You long-term listeners definitely know what I'm talking about. And yeah, so you guys, we'll see you next week with, let's see, who do I got? Oh, I got Luke Bars. We tried to talk to Luke Bars like 2 years ago. And we don't have much rap on here, so that's right. Got some hip hop coming your way. Until then, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and follow the golden rule.